Hello, hello, everyone. Hello. Here we are again. Boobgate continues. What do you want to call it? Boobgate, boobtology. I don't know what else, the breast case. Here we are, and we have two special guests today. Two for the price of one. We've got Nance Drew. Hi, honey.
Back again.
We meet again. One of these days, we're just gonna have you on so we can just shoot the breeze and just have fun. And we do
Yeah.
anyway. We have a lot of fun.
Yes.
And here to make it all make sense, the man, the myth, the legend, Windy City. Hey there, friend.
Howdy, everybody. I hope you didn't oversell there.
Not at all.
Well,
Wendy's
you made this beautiful slideshow here. So let me know when you want me to pop it up. But hello. Oh my goodness. This just does not end, does it?
No. I don't know when the end will be, but yeah, we'll be fighting.
Yeah.
So before we start, yes, I know that you're under an incredible amount of stress because of all of this. Do you feel better about the way that yesterday turned out, or did you feel? Was there a sense of relief, or was it like, oh crap?
There's a sense of relief that something's moving forward, and we're not like in the stalemate situation. But yeah, I there's another part of me that's like, okay, I need to figure out better communication with the lawyer, and if it's not going to work out, figuring out like, okay, I've already talked to a couple, and maybe I go with one of those. So yeah, mixed bag.
Yeah, I thought you did really well. Early this morning, I saw that you were live. I'm like, oh my God, she's live. So I was listening, and I think you did a great job just under the circumstances, laying it all out as far as how you were feeling, where you go from here. So if anyone's listening, and we won't make you relive the whole thing again. But that's why you have your emotional support, yes. Windy City.
Yes, he's so organized, and I'm glad that he was able to take notes. And because we were separated at times, he has info firsthand that I don't have, and vice versa. So yeah, just love that I have him in my corner with all the support.
Yeah, so we can go through this slideshow, but I just want to tell anybody in the chat, go ahead if you have a question or a comment. We'll get to those a little bit later. Please put question or comment, all caps, so I can see them. I don't actually have anybody in the back office right now to start questions, but I can do that. And what else was I going to say? I forget. Oh, yes. If we have the lovely, fabulous mods on my channel and Windy City's channel, if you can please put up the link tree. It's in the link of the link tree is in your description of your channel, right?
Yes, correct.
Nance, okay. So if we can share that, if anybody can help Nance out, it's going to be a long haul, but we're in it. We're in it with you, and we'll get this done, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you want to do here from here, Captain?
So we can bring up the slide. Okay. That's a terrible name to
not Captain Davy.
What I kind of want to do
is taking it back. We're taking it back.
Yes. I want to recount what happened yesterday. Now, a little bit of this is not really Nance Drew related, just my impression of what happened in court. And it was odd yesterday. There was the sense in court was different than it was the first time that we're there. And there's going to be some major players here, right? So naturally, Nance is one of the major players in this story. We've got Chadwick, who didn't show up, but he's the complaining witness. And then we've got Joe Sakala. And Joe Sakala, I think if you go right and left, yeah. So, okay. Right, this is Nance's, right? She's alleged to have assaulted somebody. We've got Chadwick, who was out there, he's our poor victim. Will he ever survive, right? And quite honestly, he probably is a victim right now, but not by our cause, right?
True.
I don't know. I think he was pretty lucky to come in contact with Nance's
boob. once in a lifetime, right?
Yep. And then this guy.
So this guy he's really a creep. He's a very well-to-do creep. He's a founder of Dream Exchange, which is a minority exchange of venture capital, and that affords him he generates an awful lot of revenue. And he has an association with the church in that he donates a lot of money to the church. He does a lot of fundraising for the church. If we would have just seen the Battle Creek announcement, he's called a civilization builder. So he's the one that's out there leading the charge to raise money for their fundraising, get their ideal org up. And then he's got this creepy relationship with the Chicago church in that his son is the executive director, Day, and I think it's 5 children, but all 5 are members of the staff members at the church here. He's got an odd relationship with a person named Randy Kretschmer. Randy Kretschmer was the OG. He's 2005. He's the OG public that fundraised for Chicago's Ideal Org. His old law partner was Joe Sakala. Joe Sakala, Randy Kretschmer are law partners in this space. The other thing I want to let everybody know is this person had no standing in court today. He doesn't represent anybody in court. He was just there trying to safe point and warm up to the state's attorney and try to defend the church as best he could, but without being a lawyer or an attorney of record today.
So he's not technically the lawyer that's representing Chadwick, right? He was, and now he's not. Is that?
Yeah, I think that even the day that when he was there the first day and said there was a family emergency, which let's be honest, there's no such thing as family. So how could there have been a family emergency? He didn't have to he did not file an appearance, but it turns out he didn't have to file an appearance. He was just a friend of the court saying the reason that the complaining witness isn't here today is because of Your Honor, thank you, and just the niceties of that process.
Gotcha. And so Nance, you said he doesn't have malpractice insurance.
Correct. Right? Yes. I think the chat might have been the first to call that out, and then we looked into it further.
The chat is great.
Yeah. So Wendy, so then he technically doesn't have a lawyer then? Is that because I've never seen anyone aside from Sakala?
Because in reality, that Sakala is talking in this place. He's standing in that stead, but he's not the defendant because you have a criminal case. You don't have a civil case. The state's attorney is your foe in this. The state's attorney is who is representing Chadwick Burke at this point in time. And they're in defense of the state because they allege you created some criminal act in this regard. Joe Sakala, again, he has no standing in this case. He is a friend of the court. But what I didn't realize, and thanks to your lawyer, I came to this realization. I could have gone up and told the state's attorney that the reason that we're out there protesting is because they do all of these crimes and you don't prosecute them. So do you see a problem there? Right, in this space. Unfortunately, I didn't know that until the end of the day, and it was too late. And I would say, not positive I would have the courage to do that, but I had every right to go up there just the same as he did.
Wow, that's great. Now, last time I think you said, Nance, that there was another lawyer there. You said he kind of looked like Mr. Clean or something.
Yeah, well, actually,
who was that?
Him. It was the same guy. He had like a bit of a haircut. And so he looked like, he was a little balder, and I think he was just trimmed up. But he is this like hulky, like intimidating type guy.
Yeah.
And I only had my spouse there, and she had never seen him before. So I was just, thinking
he does not look like this today, right? So he's not quite clean shaven, but he's tight shaven.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you don't look like that. Gotcha. So let me know when you want to go on. There's a whole chronological list. Do you want to go through that?
Let's go ahead and look at that. But you'll see it, and this will give you some highlights. I do want to add some color to this because these were just for me to remember what had occurred. So we arrive and I meet. I've known Nance, right? I know Juanita. Nance's partner was there. I was able to introduce myself, and we talked for a little bit. And it was close to court time, so we headed in. Now, at this point, I didn't realize that there was no lawyer. But I would soon come to that conclusion. But as so we all say hello. We decide to go into the court. Everything's fine. Court starts at 9:00. And that's why I've got here, right, that the Nance's lawyer is stuck in traffic, and that's not uncommon for Chicago. And this isn't terrible. They would have delayed the case. They would have held the case for later in the session in this scenario. I'm looking around the court. I don't see Sakala and I don't see Chadwick. So I'm pretty confident that this is going to be another no-show day in regards to what's going on. Not related to Nance's case, that the public normally, because Nance's lawyer didn't sign in, Nance's lawyer doesn't go first, right? The public defender lawyers go first. Something that I thought was really strange is there were 3 different states' attorneys that would kind of rotate through the cases, and they felt like the Keystone Cops. They did not seem on top of their game. The judge caught them in a couple of prior cases of, well, now what do you want to do? This, it's your play, Mr. State's Attorney. What say ye? In that process. So that was odd. To me, it was odd because I felt like they were unprepared to even be there for the day. And then when they started calling cases, 2 things were happening quite a bit. The complaining witnesses and the police weren't there, so those were getting dismissed cases, and those would be dismissed cases, which even though they get the 160 days back, leniency as well, those cases are never coming back, right? That if you don't show up, you're not going to show up in most situations. And then there was one defendant that didn't show up, so there was a bench warrant that went out. So that was kind of exciting to know that, hey, cool, somebody's about to get arrested in that space. About 10 minutes in, I see Joe Sakala peek in, and it was odd. He didn't walk. Normally you walk in and take a seat. He walked in, looked around, didn't see whatever he was looking for, and he walked back out. And he repeated this 3 or 4 times. And it was, I have no idea why he did it. I'm sure he might have been looking for Chadwick. I don't think that they have a close relationship. And by the way, he may in fact be Chadwick's lawyer, but not in this case. He might be, his personal lawyer or working in that case, but this isn't a situation where he would have standing. Then it comes, Nance's case is called, and Nance, I think you already shared this, right? You're walking up there as a one-man band.
Yeah, lawyer wasn't there yet. My lawyer.
Wow.
Now, I think that this went very easily, right? And Nance, maybe you want to describe. I thought that this was I liked how this went. I didn't think it put any pressure on anybody, and it's like, cool, we're done. So.
Yeah, I was quite surprised. It was quick and short. The judge said that this is dismissed. He didn't mention the 160 days yet, so I thought it was completely done at that point. So yeah, yesterday was a roller coaster and a soap opera, to say the least, I'll say. But yeah, that was a big high for me. And but yeah, it didn't last that long.
Right. So. Now, something that I thought you might have picked up on this, Nance, that the state's attorney originally tried to get a continuance, and the judge, in a rather disgusted manner, said, no, this is twice, right? Done, dismissed. Adios, goodbye. We got other things to do in this courtroom. So again, that idea that I thought that the state's attorneys were ineffective, and I don't think the judge was happy with them either in this space. I see something in the chat there. We'll get to this later on. Keep in mind, the judge probably has zero understanding of any of the facts of this case at this point in time. So all the judge knows is what's going on in this pretrial stuff that we're dancing around.
Now, how many times is this guy allowed not to show up, or he didn't have to show up yesterday, or how does that work?
That's what my understanding is after talking to my lawyer after the case. So during, I was like, okay, he's not here. The lawyer's not here. I'm getting dismissed. Awesome. Because I didn't know about the 160 days part until a little bit later. So yeah, because it was supposed to be for disclosure, that's what my lawyer was going for. That's from what I'm told. He didn't have to be there.
Discovery? Did you mean
discovery?
Discovery, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And there's another complaining witness, right? The arresting officer would also be a complaining witness, and they also were not there. But again, to Nance's point, neither one of them had to be there because that was not the purpose of this particular hearing. Okay. So I think that my expectation was Nance is on cloud nine. She's just gotten a dismissal, right? Yeah, the anvil of 160 days. And again, I don't know if it's 160 days from today or 160 days from the initial hearing, but the idea that it's dismissed, and eventually somebody's going to get fed up about refiling this. And the state's attorney had no interest. The male state's attorney, so it was a female state's attorney when Nance was up at the rail. A male state's attorney didn't seem to have any interest in this. It's like, okay, cool, let the case go until Joe Cicala walks in and starts being buddy and saying, hey, what about, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But that's upcoming, so that's dismissed. Now we all kind of have the sense of relief. We go out to the lobby, and we're out in the lobby, and Cicala is out in the lobby. Nance and her partner, and there was another auditor there today. Are we saying who the other auditor is? I think that she said her name at this point in time. It's Style Audit 1A came out to help us. And we're kind of just recapping the case as to what went over. And as we're doing that, Nance's lawyer arrives. And this is, I'm speaking as Wendy, not on behalf of Nance. He walks in, Joe Cicala says, hey, lawyer, and waves him over. And the lawyer goes and chats with Cicala, even though having walked straight forward would have walked into Nance, right? So it bothered me. I don't know if it bothered you. It bothered me.
It bothered me big time. Yeah.
So he was friendly with Cicala and walked right by Nance and was just like,
not necessarily by, just reverse direction. Yeah, just reverse direction. And we've already known. So Joe Cicala, he's a power wielder in Chicago. So people would want to buddy up to him in this regard. And we saw from the first case, the first court appearance, that they knew one another. So these two are aware of one another and have a friendly background. But quite honestly, lawyer communities are rather tight. That's not a surprising element, in my opinion.
That's what I was going to say. Like, I was so upset, yet my partner, who knows a lot about court case systems and that sort of thing, did say that, that isn't uncommon, and tried to reassure me in that, but it still rubbed me the wrong way. Just seeing that, like, he could have just checked in, with me first.
Yeah.
So well, he was late, so I think I deserve that.
Right. He's working for you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, right, we're the lawyer does Nance's lawyer finally does come over and talk. Also, what's happened here is Nance has been in contact with a Sun-Times reporter, and the Sun-Times reporter has been having a bit of a conversation with us as well, asking a few questions and everything. I haven't really talked too much with the Sun-Times reporter. I know Nance has much more, but there was conversation going on there as well. And in my mind, I thought, okay, everything's done for the day. Let's go home. And then Cicala walks into the courtroom, and I'm like, all right, this can't be good. I want to go back into the courtroom and see what's going on here. And Cicala walks up to where the state's attorneys are. He talks across the bench. They're talking buddy and all kinds of fun story. They're buddies, presumably, or as lawyers would to one another. At one point, they say, yeah, if you want to, just call me. Here's my phone number. Here's my email. They exchange those. They start talking about a date in September. And I don't know what they were talking about later on. I'm going to find out a little bit as to what that is. But I think this is Joe Cicala trying to warm the state's attorney into, we're not going to let this go yet, right? So let's just recall it right off the bat in that regard. And a couple of things are going to happen now. So we're inside the courtroom. Nance is still out with the lawyer and Sun-Times, I believe. Nance's partner is inside with me. And if we go to the next slide,
Okay. Yeah. Just got to switch over here. There we go.
So after he disengages with the state's attorney, he starts walking back to right. So the doors are all behind us as we sit facing forward. And he's staring pretty intently at either myself or at Nance's partner. We're sitting pretty close to one another. So, the two of us. But as he walks by, he's not looking at the door. He's looking at us. His head is, you can tell he has some interest in who these two people are. I'm sure he knows who these two people are. And then he stops. Now he stops behind me, so I don't have a clear line of sight. But Nance's partner and I are talking, and she notices over my shoulder that somebody's still staring at her, and she waves. And his immediate response was that a threat? Are you trying to intimidate me? I'm going to go get the sheriff in here. And she's like, no, I was saying, how are you? Right? Like, that's what waves mean. So, and I turned around and I made some response when he had said, I'm going to bring the sheriff's in. I said, are you intimidating me? Right? That didn't seem like the right thing to be saying inside of a courthouse.
Right.
The judge is not in the courtroom at this point in time. So I think the judge is, there are two courtrooms in that courthouse. The judge is splitting time between the two courtrooms. So this is not happening in front of the judge. I don't think anybody's paying attention to what's going on here. Joe Sakala then walks out to the front where the sheriffs are. Oh, go ahead.
So why was he even there? He just seems like he's just there to be obnoxious.
Yeah.
And to just hang around and take up space and be a jerk. Like, can he
to
just
say
be
he's not a
excused?
lackey for the church, right? To say he's not a lackey for the church.
Yeah, exactly. And he's not if he's not lawyering, get GTFO.
Correct.
Right? That's
what
what
I
I
got to say
love.
about. Anyways.
So he walks outside, and I'm going to say that I think that he's going to put his Scientology hat on, and he's going to attempt to shore story and safe point the sheriff out there. So I walk out, and I just take up position. The hallway is probably 8 feet wide. I go to one side of the hallway. There's two sheriffs and Joe Sakala sitting on the other side of the hallway. When Joe catches sight of me, he puts his hand up over his mouth so that I can't see what he's saying. And then he also he slowly moves himself around to be a barrier of the view so that I can't see the conversation that's going on. It's my understanding I could have walked right up to them because they were in a public place and they had no expectation of privacy while they were there. Now, it turns out that the sheriff has no interest in what he's saying, that, there was no intimidation. Shut up, right? He doesn't say that. He doesn't give that impression, but he's not really buying anything that he's talking about. And then it quickly turns to, hey, how are you? How's your family? It's been a long time. I haven't seen you guys in a while. And they talk for 10 to 15 minutes about what are you doing this summer? How's your summer been? Just those typical things that, coworkers would talk about. Yeah, safe pointing. This idea that we're normal people, right? Boy, these people on the other side of the hallway here, type thing. So that goes on for, like I said, about 10, 15 minutes. Joe Sakala eventually tires of this and he's kind of done for the day. At this point, I didn't know that Nance's case was going to be recalled. I don't think that he knew Nance's case was going to be recalled that day because I don't think that he would have left knowing that they were going to go up again. But as he leaves, something funny happened. The sheriff waved at him. And I asked Joe Sakala, I said, were you just intimidated by the sheriff?
You got some balls.
No,
I'm so
Joe
proud
Sakala,
of you.
Yeah.
he did put on his Scientology hat and, right, no talking to SPs in this process.
That's right. Yep.
So he leaves. Now, it's funny. As he leaves, he sees Juanita's outside and he sees a camera. He doesn't want to go that way. He immediately crosses the street. He walks to the corner and then he walks south. I'll come back to Nance's case real quick, but I just think this is a funny anecdote about how Joe Sakala sees the world, just like Scientology does. His car is facing northbound. So he's parallel parked on the street. His car is facing northbound. The natural thing for him to do would be pull out into traffic and then drive by the courthouse. Well, he realizes that Juanita's up there with a camera. he backs up, does a U-turn, and goes south to avoid the camera. Because the natural way to leave would be to go north because the highway is right there, right in that space.
Right.
So it's just that idea of even you avoid the camera, right? It's you're that afraid of the camera in this space. So good. Juanita kept him on his toes, so that's good. Now, Nance, you're going to have to do a little bit of work here because I was still outside. I think while I'm doing all of this fun stuff, and I think I went out to go talk with Juanita for a bit, you got recalled.
Yeah, so that was so I had some time speaking with my lawyer right there, because this before or after the break happened? Was it
We're after the break. We're after the break.
Okay, so yeah, I had spoken with my lawyer, told him that this is the plan because he had warned me about some RICO stuff before this case, which stressed me out like crazy. And then he said, "Are you sure you want to move forward with trial?" And I'm like, "They're just going to keep doing this. This is I don't want to be stuck in limbo, and this 160 days is just ridiculous. So yeah, I want to be able to yeah, get the discovery and go to trial because they're not going to drop it, and I'm not going to take a plea." So yeah, I get recalled, and I'm standing there, and they're working out a date. I will say that again, this is where my lawyer was wanting a date with the discovery and then the trial, like at the same time. And the judge says, "Are you sure you want to do that? Because if you don't have all of the discovery material, you're just out of luck then. And we're going to move forward. You're not going to get another continuance at that point." And so my lawyer's like, "Okay, yes, you're right. We'll do just the discovery. We'll make sure that we have everything. And then we'll see if we're ready to move to trial then, which most likely will be September-ish or something like that." So that was, fairly quick. I go back to sit down and and then Wendy joins again.
Did you get the stipulation while you were up there?
Right.
Yes. So I got the stipulation at the tail end of that. And I had discussed this on the phone with my lawyer, but I don't know if he had forgotten or what, but I really wanted to fight this. What they said was I couldn't go near the building. I couldn't go near the Chicago Org, 650 South Clark, because that's where Chadwick lists that he not only works, but also lives, which Scientology. So yeah, they said that because she's released and not in custody, she needs to stay away from the org. That's the condition. And my lawyer didn't fight it. And that's what stuck.
That makes you really upset, I can tell.
There's a good and a bad side of that, right? The idea that you're under a great deal of stress, Nance, and the idea that maybe figuring out other ways to present yourself is somewhat advantageous. But the idea that I agree with what you're saying. You're my lawyer. Fight for me, right?
Yeah.
And we'll be out there protesting. They're not going to have an easy time. Don't worry about that. And I really love the merry band of fellows that we have out there. They're tenacious.
Yeah.
One of the things that I was very much annoyed by, well, that again, since Joe Sakala wasn't, I don't know this, because he was a friend of the court, he might not have had his lawyer hat on, but he would have lied if he said that Chadwick lives there. There are no residential permits in that building, and Chadwick does not, in fact, live there, right? He's probably telling a fib on the idea that he works there because I have a feeling that he's been moved away, right. From there. I just don't know how to engage the court and say, I think somebody lied to you in that space. The other one that annoyed me was the idea that Nance is accused of assaulting a body. She's not accused of assaulting a building. So it doesn't really make sense to me that the address is significant in this situation. So,
yeah,
we will definitely be out there in her stead. So,
yeah. I just know that Nance, that this is your passion and you want to fight for your freedom and you'll get through this. It's a bump in the road. It really sucks that he didn't fight for you right then and there, because it's kind of hard to, put the horse back in the barn here, because he's obviously being hidden. He's probably not even working there. Definitely not living there. So they just lie.
Yeah, that's their game. And but I can go other places. I've traveled other places before. It's not the only org I've protested. It's not the only place I protested in Chicago, but normally I kind of keep that under wraps. But you know uh, I'll still find ways, believe me.
So we have a lawyer in the house here, Carrie J, our lawyer friend. Comment: in my opinion, discovery is a huge opportunity for Nance and protest community at large that Scientology has thought through. Yeah. So this is an opportunity. There's going to be. I'm glad that they caught that little clause there, that he didn't lump those two things together. That you can have a continuance if you need more discovery evidence, right? More time. That's good.
Yeah, I think that's the big silver lining right now.
Right. And thank God the judge said that, because again, my lawyer was just going to go with that.
I know. Seems like the judge is on your side, at least.
This is a great judge. I really have a good feeling about this judge. I've heard it from multiple people about this judge. I know his background. I've done a lot of research about him. I think when he sees this, it will be out of here when he sees all the evidence and the discovery. But yeah, just another little bit of a disappointment there with the lawyer.
Yeah. The judge's compassion was very noticeable with some of those prior cases, right? There would have been people that were on some form of a recovery step in their either parole or sometimes you get probation and you have to go through several steps, and hey, only one more day away. And he was championing these defendants as they came through there. So it felt like it was an honest emotion or affection, that he was compassionate and caring about what was going on with these defendants. So.
And I want to say too, I see Carrie's comment here. Make sure you communicate with your lawyer thoroughly about discovery. And we did do this, especially after court was over. Because I was asking him, are you going to make sure that we get the footage not only from the incidents, for the body cam footage from the officers, but I want the footage too from the whole day, because that was not the only call made earlier that day. Chadwick came out and after he called the cops and said, we want the signage taken down. The chalk is okay. And we have that on camera too. So yeah, I want them, because they had to go in and talk about that, and he might have even brought that up then. So yeah, I am trying to communicate with them, and he said I will. My lawyer said I will make sure that is subpoenaed, and I clarified again everything, all of the body cam footage, and he said yes, I'll subpoena everything. So if there's any other recommendations you have, Carrie J, maybe I can get your email somehow. I'm very open to getting recommendations.
Yeah, I can do that if Carrie's open to that. And we got Declare Dave loves suppressive cherry in the house. Hi there. Question: Nance, are you asking for a jury trial or bench judge only trial?
At this point, I'm very confident in the judge, so I think I would stick with the judge, and that would be less costly as well and less time consuming. So, but I mean, if I didn't have the confidence that I do have in this judge, then I would probably go the other way. But yeah.
Good point. We got Kelly Copter in the house. Hi, sweetie. Time to get discovered, peeps. Nance, I salute you. Yes.
Thank you, Kelly. Nance. Thank you.
Yeah. And we got people putting ones in the chat for you. You got a lot of support.
Is that what that means?
Yep.
Okay.
Like, put a one in the chat. Everybody put a one in the chat for supporting Nance.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
I think that's maybe a lifeboat thing. Yeah, I did it too.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah, we got lots of support here.
I feel it. I feel it. I mean, there's negativity that, you get in comments or emails and trolls and that kind of thing, but the negativity is far outweighed by the love and support and encouragement that I get with people showing up, and just, the overall, it's just great.
Yeah. And actually, I see Dave's other one. It's not a race, Dave, but I think you won with your 75 ones in the next one.
And you've got literally no one.
Oh my goodness.
Literally no one. Oh, George. He had a huge shout out yesterday. My mod George Massey is literally no one. He doesn't mind us knowing that. He's shown his face before. And Rabbit did a stream yesterday and highlighted his video. So if anyone is interested in checking that out, George is a rock star. And he went to Child USA to the party. It was a tournament, and stood there, and the cops came and they basically took the pamphlets and were like, you go, and as long as you don't strap things to the fence, you can put your signs out, and they were fine with it. So yeah. Nice. So I think all the power to all of you protesters. Definitely salute you. Thank you for all you do. Really. Excellent. So do you want me to put that? I'll put the rest of this up in case there's anything else you wanted to go through. And then I have some questions and comments from.
Yeah, I think the most important one, right, is the idea that discovery can start. And that's to me the big deal. And what I don't know if Scientology understands is they just open themselves up to discovery. Right. And this is typically not something that they're willing to open themselves up to. So.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. That's really wild. Yeah, so you can pretty much ask anything-ish, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
I would like to your Nance is alluding to it, if not outright saying it. Hey, Chadwick, what changed your mind? Who told you who told you the chalk was no longer acceptable?
Yes.
Right. And I'd love to see if oftentimes the police will, sometimes they'll suborn the idea of getting you to do a trespass, but did the police encourage them to do something here as well? So that's the body cam side of it. But just the question, what changed? What were the circumstances that caused you to change but I'm not a lawyer, and I've seen them on TV, but that's about it.
But you can, as a client, you can submit questions for your counsel to ask, right? Yep. I mean, I would assume. Okay. At least.
Can you give me 1 second? I'm going to come right back. All right. I'm going to come off screen. I'll go off screen. Thanks.
No problem. All right. Let's take some comments and questions. Power lies to paralyze. Hi there. Having experienced the use of the legal system to be harassed, what advice do you have for protesters?
For me, if it concerns the incident, I mean, just making sure that you have multiple camera angles on you. I, since the incident, have started wearing a body cam, so that, because even though I had a camera right here, it didn't really go down this way. So, well, you can see certain things, but I could have seen so much more had I had a body cam on too. And then just keeping more of a distance. I was trying to protect the chalk art that Korn and Juanita had laid down. And because he said it was okay, it just kind of just keeping emotions in check too, because I was a little perturbed that he, earlier in the day he said this, and now he's coming out and just really quickly just came out and just started scrubbing and throwing that water. And I thought normally this is the first time they had ever done that. I'd seen it in Austin before, but they'd never done this in Chicago. Normally they wait until we leave and it's, they scrub it down. It's not an issue. And so, I just, I guess, again, to the point, trying to keep that distance, especially if you don't have a body cam on, and having the multiple angles is very important.
Yeah, that's very good advice.
I 100% agree with that.
We got Saul Goodman, YouTube, in the house. In it to win it. That's right.
Hey, Saul.
Hey, Saul.
In it to win it. And we got Penny P. This is great advice. Try not to stress, Nance. Try not to. Remember to take time to relax. You got this, girl. Yeah. It's not a sprint. It's, take your time. It's a marathon, but you'll get through it. You got
I have to
a
keep
lot of love
reminding
and
myself
support.
of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Get some sleep.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got May the Force be with you. This is about the exposure of corruption. Stand tall, Nance Drew. That's right. That's right. And Wendy, did you heard what Nance Drew gave for advice? Did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
No, I 100% agree that in the past I've said, hey, just go out there, but I do think that a camera is incredibly important, and I now always wear a body camera as well, because the body camera gives you the 180 field of view, and the downside of just having your phone is oftentimes it's away from you, so it's very easy for them to get underneath the phone in that situation. Even more importantly, and I think this is, I noticed it a great deal when Bridge, we had one of the audience members came out and protested with me this past week. And I noticed that on her video, when I was engaging with people, she was very good about making sure that I was in full frame all the time on that. And if you have buddies out there that you're protesting with, if any engagement occurs, please forget your stream and protect your fellow protesters.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely great advice. Yep. Okay, we got Jersey Jan. Hey there. She's another protester that was with literally no one in front of the country club a couple weeks ago. Perhaps, Nance, you should have countersued for assault. This has come up quite a few times, but go ahead.
It's one step at a time, honestly. That would be the next step that I could do after it we win. And yeah, I that's definitely an option. I've consulted with some lawyers already, just to be more knowledgeable about this, and so yeah, it's definitely something that I could do.
Absolutely. Yep. Keep all options on the table, right?
Mm-hmm.
Declare, Dave, we love you, Nance Drew. Yes, we do. We are all behind you 100%. Yes. Please don't forget
that. Sorry, I keep looking down because I'm looking for so we had a streamer come to court, and she made a great video, a mashup of what happened. I'm sifting through emails to try to send it to you, Marilyn, but
okay. If you can send it in the private chat.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. I still can't find it.
I think I have it, and I'll send it in the private side.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you, Wendy.
Yeah. Okay. Let's put another one up for now. We got some burning biscuits. We got Julie Markham. I can't believe a judge would even entertain this BS once he sees the evidence, right?
Yeah, right. At this point in Chicago, you don't even see it. It's only the state's attorney, and that's who, I'm like, why? How did the state's attorney pass this? And so my lawyer's answer to that was, it has to be dismissed on a legal substance, and
gotcha.
It can be political when you turn down something, and then this is a year where people are voting and such, and so they don't want to rock the boat, especially when someone is pushing as hard as Scientology is for this case.
Okay, what am I clicking on here, Wendy? You got 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, Nance, you had sent me the 3. So which of those, do you remember which link it is?
I believe it's the first link that is the mashup.
And it says Nora. So that's the one that has Nora's name on it?
It has Nora. So Nora is part of this in this clip. And she described, like I had said before, what they had learned and trained in Scientology to do the backwards type of move and say, oh, it was the protesters' fault. So yeah, I think she did a good job in putting this together.
Yeah.
The streamer.
Let's watch it. That looks really good. A second here. I think I got it. Boob attack.
I think so.
Let me just maximize it. You can see it okay? And I'll start it.
Yep. Why are women afraid to exercise their First Amendment right to protest Scientology?
Are they afraid of being set up for a fake assault charge? A Scientology staff member annoyed at public protest interfering with recruitment efforts, called police, and accused a peaceful protester, who was riding with kitty chalk on the public pavement, of assaulting him. Allegedly.
Scientology doesn't seem to like chalk art, especially when it protests their cult practices. The staff member spoke privately with police inside the Scientology building. Supposedly, police reviewed footage from Scientology overhead security cameras. When police emerged, they arrested protester Nance Drew. The most they could say was that it appeared a part of her breast had brushed his shoulder when he confronted her.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Scientology trained, and he doesn't fool around.
Allegedly.
Kelly.
Kelly.
Members are trained to protect the cult's image and interests. There are TRs on lying, bull baiting, and confronting. One of the most controversial aspects involves learning how to fake assaults.
When I was at Celebrity Center, we used to do a weekly training on how to deal with hostile persons. We were taught how to disarm somebody, but we were also taught that if somebody came to protest, to engage them in conversation, pulling them closer to you, so that then you, the Scientologist, could slam your body into them, fall to the ground, practice pratfalling, and then start screaming and like, so we could effectively combat protesting by getting fake assault charges brought against people. So they are trained.
Okay. I think we got that.
There's a couple awesome parts in that. I love that. So the one auditor you're going to see on that front, so that the detective look, and it's like, wait, that's Nance Drew, right? But the giggles at the end was a very enjoyable.
Yeah, it's really good. Now, who was that again? I'll have to put it in the
1A
Style-
style audit, or am
1A
I?
audit.
Yeah, style audit 1A. Style audit 1A.
Okay. I'll have to
I think
put
that's
that
we've
one
seen
in.
it. The mods have put it in there a couple of times.
Okay, great.
Okay. Perfect. Thanks, everyone.
So yeah, she showed up and was there, and she wanted to have a picture with Wendy and I. So we did that after court and such. But she wanted to be there as a witness too, and to be supportive. So that was nice of her to put together.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love, because I don't know the first thing how to do those, so I love watching
editing.
them.
Yeah, I'm not good at editing. I love watching it, and the fact that she put in, Kelly and the training thing that Nora describes.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
I'm lazy. I just send as much raw footage as possible to Kelly, and I say, make something awesome out of this.
So we've got another comment. Back to the subject of that. What's his name? The non-lawyer lawyer.
Sakala.
Yes, Sakala. About their behavior, like the lawyers together. Carrie J said, comment, lawyers may be friendly with each other, but clients still control decisions. Nance's lawyer can't make any agreement on outcome without her approval. So yeah, someone else mentioned too is that they have like lawyer, meetups or whatever. Like they probably have, all kinds of like social engagements and stuff where they kind of rub elbows. But I think when it comes down to it, I remember watching the O.J. Simpson case, and then at the end, like they were all shaking hands. I'm like, you guys were like cutthroat, hating each other through the entire thing. you know. So I guess they do that, sort of like being on different teams. You know, they do their job, right?
Yeah.
Declare Dave said, unfortunately, as an officer of the court, Sakala is allowed to go in any courtroom and talk to any other lawyer. You have to make sure he doesn't have ex parte communication with a judge, though. That's a good point.
We know this lawyer pretty well. I say we, my lawyer, and then he used to be a public defender, and that is huge in my favor. And the stats on him, they're pretty good. Yeah. So
awesome. Janelle wants to know, question, does Illinois use depositions or interrogatories? I don't know what that means.
So sometimes that you'll get, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, that deposition, I believe, is face-to-face asking questions in interrogatories, or are you get a list of questions and you get to answer them in text and send them back. I am not a lawyer.
So I'm not sure which they use, though, here in Illinois, honestly. That's a good question that I'll have to ask. Do you know, Wendy?
I don't offhand. I always think I think it is depositions in this case.
So too.
The only difference is that a deposition can happen faster because you can ask a clarifying question in real time. Interrogatories, right? You've got the back. It's like email communication instead of chat communication.
Yeah, I gotcha. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I like watching some of those, like when they had different ones, because I watch a lot of documentaries and stuff, and I was trying to think of the one with the LuLaRoe, like the LuLaRich. They were just like, just acting crazy, but you could tell by their answers, but they had the counter answers. I can't imagine doing it like by email or whatever. I like to see the reaction in real time to the questions. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So I like the depositions much better. Much better. And they record all of them? They must, right?
They record
them.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Too bad you can't get copies of them. Maybe you can.
You actually, so that you own those after the trial, yeah, because you paid for them.
Yeah.
Whoa! Watch party.
That might be a state by state. Sorry about that. That might be a state by state, but I do know in many situations that if you pay for the deposition, it's your IP.
Wow, that's wild. Mm-hmm. That makes sense though, because you're paying for it. Amy M says, can't she protest from afar via your live stream, Wendy?
Absolutely.
All right. So be in honor of Nance. I love it. I love it. Tip me in glitter. We got your back, Nance.
Thank you so much. You've been so supportive. Thank you so much.
She's amazing.
She is.
And Kathy Scoggins says, this old lady has much respect for y'all out there with boots on the ground. Abso-freaking-lutely. Yeah. Pause for Andrea wants to know, how is it even possible that the state's attorney is going forward with any of this since day one? And why is the judge not tossing it out ages ago? Boob court, such a waste of time and resources. Kind of went over that a little bit, but yeah, it's just.
Now there's two different things. The judge, I fully understand. The judge has zero understanding of what the facts of the case are.
Right.
The state's attorney has an understanding of what the facts of the case are. And my expectation has their video, right? Otherwise, he probably wouldn't have gone forward with this case. So this is just under the pressure of Sakala and the church that I think this is moving forward. I will tell you that I am exceedingly disappointed in the state's attorney that this is an absolute waste of. We saw there were probably 100 people that would have gone through that court system yesterday. There are better uses of our tax dollars and our civil system and that's our criminal system than what's going on here.
I got a couple more comments from Carrie J, our lawyer friend. She says the client owns the file and contents. Makes sense. And depositions and interrogatory, I can't say that right. But yeah, you know what I mean, is usually for civil.
Okay.
That's interesting.
The way that I read that is that interrogatories are usually for civil, but then the original poster has one coming up that I think is helpful to Janelle.
Janelle. This one?
Yeah.
Yes, one is face-to-face, the other is written list. Limited number of questions on interrogatories.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so we'll see, and maybe we can have Carrie J on at some point as well. Yes. I mean, she's not your lawyer, but she can answer some general questions and give her input if she'd like. That would be awesome.
Yeah,
Carrie.
love that.
Our lawyer friend, Carrie.
Yes.
There we go.
She's fantastic.
Now, one thing that my understanding on that, yes, you do own it, but you probably can't release anything until the conclusion of a trial. Just like a jurist couldn't go out and talk about what was happening in the trial.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. Okay. Well, I think we've been through most of the questions and comments. Do you have anything else you'd like to share before we wrap up? Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us, and hopefully it was helpful.
How are you doing, if you don't mind me asking, how are you doing with funds as far as, keeping up with the payments and things like that? Where are we at with that?
I'm doing very well. Thanks to the kind and generous people, audience of Maryland's people that have donated when I've done lives early on. And then the Boobathon raised funds. So I'm doing well. Right now I'm A-okay. So yeah, if it comes to it, when it comes to it, with the lawyer switch or whatever, from my understanding, a lawyer sent me some information. If I do need to switch, the retainer can be returned to me minus the billing hours that he has taken. So that's very good news. I was really worried about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm doing well. I appreciate the question. And
sorry about this guy. He was scratching at the door, and I just picked him up. He wasn't taking no for an answer.
How does?
Yeah, well, he just turned 1. He used to fit in the palm of my hand. I don't know if you remember when I used to bring him in, but he just turned 1 on the 4th of July. So he's a big in now.
Happy birthday,
Rocky.
Rocky.
Yeah. Rocky would be a better attorney. I know, huh?
Right.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, thank you so much, both of you. If there's anything we can do, anything at all, we really appreciate both of you, and we're here for you. So,
thank you so much. You've done so much already, and so is the community. And yeah, we'll keep you updated.
Well,
excellent.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. So I guess I'll take us out with an outro here, if you don't mind. Let me see if I can find it. And then you want to hang out for a minute or two, we can chat first. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you later. Bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Zenu, Marlene, everybody partake. Cheers. This is good coffee. This is why, my hubby makes the coffee.